Doubts in the dark. It began with a flicker. The ceiling light in my living room started to blink erratically one evening. I thought nothing of it, assuming it was a loose bulb or just an old circuit in my aging apartment. But when I went to tighten the bulb, it wasn't loose. I replaced it with a new one, only for it to flicker again minutes later. My partner Anna laughed, telling me I was just being paranoid. Old buildings make strange noises. Old lights flicker, she said, her smile warm. It's nothing, Alex. I wanted to believe her. But it wasn't just the light. 2 nights later, the television turned on by itself. I was in bed, staring at the ceiling, sleep eluding me when I heard the soft murmuring from the living room. My heart sank as I got up, the glow of the screen flickering through the hallway. I walked in, feeling the coldness of the wooden floor beneath my feet. There it was, the TV, displaying static, hissing softly. Anna was still asleep, oblivious. I turned it off, my reflection staring back at me in the darkened screen, my face pale and anxious. Over the next week, things grew worse. It wasn't just the TV or the lights anymore. Doors would creak open without explanation, and objects seemed to shift slightly when I wasn't looking. The framed picture of Anna and me from our vacation in Maine moved from the coffee table to the windowsill. I asked Anna about it, but she just gave me a puzzled look. "Are you okay?" she asked. There was genuine concern in her eyes. I wasn't sure how to answer. I was starting to doubt myself. Maybe I was just overworked, my mind playing tricks on me. I was a freelance designer and deadlines had been piling up lately. I told myself it was the stress, that I was imagining it all. But the sense of unease settled in my bones and refused to leave. One night as I sat at my desk working late, I heard it, a whisper. It was faint, barely audible, like the rustling of leaves. I paused, my fingers frozen above the keyboard, listening. There it was again, a soft murmur coming from the hallway. I slowly stood, my chair creaking as I pushed it back. The hallway stretched before me, dimly lit, the shadows deepening with each passing second. My heart pounded in my ears as I took a step forward, then another. The whisper grew louder, more distinct, a voice, urgent but unintelligible. "Anna?" I called out, my voice cracking. No response. The door to our bedroom was closed, and I could hear her soft snoring from the other side. She was still asleep. I turned my attention back to the hallway. The whisper seemed to be coming from the closet at the end, the door slightly ajar. I swallowed, my throat dry, and approached. The air felt colder with every step, my breath hitching as I reached out and slowly pulled the closet door open. Nothing. Just darkness, the faint scent of old coats and shoes wafting out. I let out a shaky breath, feeling foolish. I was about to close the door when I noticed something, a movement, a flicker in the darkness. I leaned closer, squinting into the shadows, and that's when I saw it. Eyes, 2 pale, glinting eyes staring back at me from the darkness. I stumbled backward, my heart leaping into my throat. The door swung shut with a bang, the whispering suddenly stopping. I stood there, frozen, my eyes locked on the closed door, my mind racing. Had I really seen that? Was it just my imagination? I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, my eyes wide open, listening to every creak, every rustle, every sigh of the old apartment. Anna turned over in her sleep, mumbling something, but I couldn't focus. My thoughts were consumed by those eyes, that whisper, the sense that something was there, something I couldn't explain. The next day, I tried to tell Anna about it. She listened, her brow furrowed, her hand resting on mine. "Alex, maybe you should talk to someone," she said gently. "A therapist or a doctor. You've been so stressed lately." I wanted to argue, to tell her that it was real, that I wasn't losing my mind. But the look in her eyes stopped me. She was worried, really worried. And maybe she was right. Maybe I was just imagining it all. I agreed to make an appointment, hoping that talking to someone might help. But that night, everything escalated. I was in the kitchen, washing dishes, when I heard Anna scream. It was a sound that cut through me, freezing my blood. I dropped the plate I was holding, the porcelain shattering on the floor as I ran to the bedroom. Anna was sitting up in bed, her eyes wide with terror, staring at the closet. The door was open, swinging slightly as if it had just been pushed. I rushed to her side, grabbing her shoulders. "What happened?" I asked, my voice shaking. She pointed, her hand trembling. There was someone in the closet watching me. My stomach dropped. I turned to look at the closet. the darkness inside seeming to pulse, to breathe. I could feel it now, the presence, the cold, creeping dread that had been haunting me for days. It wasn't just me. Anna had seen it too. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed Anna's hand, pulling her out of bed. "We're leaving," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "We're not staying here another night." We packed a few essentials, our hands shaking, our eyes constantly darting to the shadows. The apartment felt alive, like it was watching us, waiting for us to make a mistake. As we stepped into the hallway, I heard it again, the whisper, louder now, angry. "Leave," it hissed, the word clear, almost tangible. We didn't look back. We drove to a motel on the edge of town, the silence between us heavy. Anna was pale, her hands gripping her knees, her eyes unfocused. I wanted to comfort her, to tell her everything would be okay, but the words felt hollow. I didn't know if we'd be okay. I didn't know if we'd ever be free of whatever had taken hold of our home. That night, as we lay in the motel bed, I held Anna close, listening to her breathing slowly even out as she fell asleep. I stared at the ceiling, my mind racing, exhaustion pulling at me. Just as I felt myself beginning to drift off, I heard it, a soft whisper coming from the corner of the room. "You can't run, Alex." My eyes snapped open, my heart pounding. In the darkness, I saw it, a shadow, tall and still, standing by the window watching us. And I knew then that it had followed us and that it wouldn't stop until it got what it wanted.